Well guys, that is a dual thief circuit. I had this on a pancake, and I decided to put the ferrite back on, and I was going to run this off a rectifier off a tower that's behind me. And as I approached the tower, the LEDs lit up, so it was kind of pointless going further with that. So I started messing around with this, and it kind of works really well. If I switch this tower, the motor's running kind of deliberately because you can hear it pulling power away as I mess around with this. So apologies for the annoying whine. There you go. Can you see the LEDs are coming on? Not brilliantly bright. The red one's particularly hard because you have to be square on, but there's it's really strange how I come across this, but because it started working wirelessly as soon as I was near the tower, I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll mess around with the resistance on it and see if I can get it working a little bit better. And while I had the resistor out, I put an LED in where the resistor would go. So these two wires go off to this row. So each one's a rail. And so the resistor was in there, and this is where the output would go the other side. So you're not seeing that really well, are you? And so yeah, I did that, and it actually works without the transistor in there. That's not doing anything, and I've got a really simplified version of it just next to me. But yeah, just so you could see that, and then if I apply ground, things got kind of a bit better, a lot better. Let's pop that back up there. So what it was I had my finger on the trigger down here, and it was grounding it, and I didn't realise, and I couldn't work out why it was working so well. And so if I apply a ground, I haven't sanded the screen back, so I hope it will go on there, fella. And you can see that's way better. And if I touch it, it just goes crazy. I've blown here goes the motor. You see that goes crazy, and he's got some really good range. Whoops, you can see the other ones that I made. And yeah, so that was that. Oh, knocking things over. So I simplified that circuit last night down to its raw elements, and I ended up with this, again with ferrite involved. I've just bent the antenna on it, and there we go, and he works pretty well as well. If I put a ground on here, this gets better once again. It's really hard, but it does adjust the pitch of the motor a tiny little bit. You see, you can't see there. With the ground, so with me grounding, so, and I did it with a piece of ferrite as well. In fact, you can see this one doesn't work as well. I had very few windings on here, this side, with nothing on that side, and it was working quite well. And I went the wrong way and added more turns, cut those ones off, and it just got worse. But it kind of proved a point, and that's why I simplified it down to this little tiny fella down here. I'll put a ground in here in a minute. But yeah, you can see this will just work straight off the ferrite. You see I'm pulling it. I've got my finger on the, I think that's the trigger. What would normally be the trigger. So that's bifilar, that is. It was just I wound that off a bifilar coil Bedini. But yeah, so you can see that going on. And I was going to wrap some around this, I just never got around to it. But yeah, and that was it really. Just so you can see that working. Oh, so we pop a ground on here. Where are you? He works really well. And that's it really. I hope you like that. Just a bit of messing around really. Probably people have done this a million times, but it was just cool that it kind of rectifies in the circuit to get this running. I assume that's what's happening. Jeremy and I spoke about it a little tiny bit once before. But yeah, okay guys, take care, cheers all, see ya.